Okay, so, you know, I got my Uber. I'm back from my own job, and I am tired, and I want to practice my little bit of Igbo and a little bit of French before I go to sleep, since I was able to get to my blog, my expressive blog post. That one I'm working on. Schools I would have gone to had I stayed in the district of Marbut Elementary. And then also, I read some Howard magazine, and I have rehearsal in the morning, and I really, really love this ballet, but it's very hard, and I have to get my stamina up. Um, and I just wanted to say, um, well, first I wanted to say, because I didn't say it in my other video, and I didn't really say it because sometimes when you're on topic and you just focus on, what you're talking about with yourself, and that's actually, I kind of liked that. But I wanted to say also that, that Sinners, I want to see this movie, okay? And it's because it was very, had a lot of accolades, and obviously a lot of some messed up things, but a lot of accolades. And not as many as, you would think, with, I think it was 16 nominations at the Academy Awards. And yes, I will still be having in mind the video I watched with the YouTuber that I subscribed to. Um, and basically, so congratulations for, the Best Actor win with Michael B. Jordan. Killmonger is a character that I can definitely connect to in Black Panther. Okay? And then also Best Score. I saw the clip with the really nice music and the clip with Misty Copeland at the end. And that was very beautiful. The costume was a Firebird costume, and we did that as well. And with Stravinsky, the composer Stravinsky, um, yeah. And I would like to see the one that was the Dance Theater of Harlem, because when I danced at Balethnic and took lessons there, when I came back from college, I was still too old there taking classes with 15-year-old kids before I graduated, when I was at Pace Academy. I was in class with a girl I was in school with, and we were in the same level at 17. And to go back there when I'm 23, I mean, that's completely depressing. Okay, so I had to move forward, because I knew there was no way I was going to There's no way you're going to It's just not going to happen. So I had to figure out what to do. So basically, what I'm saying though is that today at Walmart, I had somebody look. What's difficult is that trying to have the reason why I know that my soul had me major in language is because I had to find a language for this experience, for this identity, for this story, for this family system. And it's hard figuring out how to express myself as what I am. And it's taken me many years to do that. And so it's difficult because I carry a very African phenotype, and people automatically know that that I'm African. And I was born in Atlanta, more specifically Brady Memorial Hospital, and I actually had a relative that worked at that hospital, I learned, but no real connection when we're in the same city that could encourage me towards STEM, which I have an acumen for. I'm artistic and intellectual, or more like intellectual and artistic. I don't know which one will be for first, but we can just put both of them together, because they're basically the same. That's, I guess, what the idea of STEAM is: science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Because look, math is artistic, beauty is mathematical, artistic. I mean, it makes sense to me, and probably to you too. So what I'm saying though is that today someone was like, "Where are you from?" And I mean, aside from the fact that I'm a space alien, okay, and not really quite from anywhere, I just, you know, but basically, and I will just kind of explain myself a little bit, explain that I explain that I know that they're asking because of the way I look, and so I say yes, I'm Nigerian. Um, and I'll say, yeah, I'm Nigerian and my mom is Nigerian and I'm a double cultured person. And I'll tell them it's from the southeast of Nigeria. I will say this, and then I will say too, and I have one parent that's African American too, and from the southeast of the United States. I don't say that, but if it comes up, I just say it because I just think it's funny, the synchronicity. The synchronicity of each country would be in the southeast. But it's difficult because the way I look, people aren't automatically going to guess that I am two. It's going to be assumed that I'm one. And I have no, I am who I am in my entirety. So I'm not going to be ashamed of any one side or identity. And I've gone through, my struggles with this over the years. And I guess I've come to the middle now. But basically, it's difficult because what that does when somebody can't really, I have to explain, and that is difficult because there's a pain in knowing that I don't have, that part of me is something people don't see until I say it. My story is invisible until I say it. My story is invisible how if I try to connect with one side and I don't have a connection, but I look like the other side, it's very difficult because then I have to be the one to narrate and tell my story so that it's not lost, so that the things that I've experienced are not lost and interpreted solely through a person's lens based on what I look like. And also the assumption sometimes too that people will a lot of times assume that Nigerians are like the smart ones. That's kind of annoying because I will draw inspiration from Black intellect, period, if that makes sense. All of it's going to have to inspire me because of what my identity is. Now, was my mom consistent in education, piano, dance? And of course my father will have the influence for different things in parts of my education as well, but there was no, my mom didn't touch me inappropriately, where that will psychologically colonize my science brain. So it takes me till my 30s to be talk to him on the phone and be like, hey, that's mine. Let me make my periodic table earrings now as I start to heal. Okay? Now I can have my science brain back now that my body is mine again. So it's just different. But what I'm saying is that it's difficult because I have to be the one to tell my story. And one thing I liked is I talked to somebody yesterday at a modeling thing. I'm not paid yet, and it's so frustrating, but and I told them about, they were like, oh, I'll say my name, then they'll say oh, where's that from? Then I'll say, I'll give the rundown, then I'll say, but my last name is kind of it's not a match because it's obvious that my first name is African and then my last name is where does Morton come from, But it's literally because of this enslaved ancestry, and more specifically, it's not through my father's father because he doesn't have a father due to the tragedy and the harm with this lineage. It's I don't know where this comes from. I don't really know. There's so much I don't know. And so, though, in this journey of learning, this person said, oh, you're mixed, basically. And that was really interesting to hear a person kind of say that because it's true. Right? I guess it would be true that I'm kind of a mixed Black person. And that within that, some of my siblings may come out looking more African or more African American. And I know people will say that people look similar, but I don't think so. I think sometimes I can tell. Not all the time, but I think most of the time I can tell. And I might be wrong, so I should really just check myself to make sure, but I do think I can tell. Especially when I know that I've kind of felt that I've looked a little different when if I'm around spaces where I could never really put my finger on what it is, but the fact that even now people will ask me where I'm from, this otherness, and you know, otherness is relative. But if I'm in a space with mainly African Americans or Black Americans, like, I mean, I will still look different, okay? So that's all I want to say. Just trying to figure this out, okay? And I know, you know, all right, but let me go ahead and practice, all right, and so I can get to sleep, all right, and figure out how to prepare to get better with the choreography that we're learning. Friday I had a breakdown, a mini breakdown, because let me tell you, I have to find a way to find support with other Black girls / women, because being in a space without anyone that is like me and where I'm already trying to catch up technically, no bueno. That is not, absolutely not. I had to get somebody to convince me to stay, because I would have just left. You know, the point work, I wasn't strong enough. Knew I was not doing well. I was doing okay, but I would need more work in point. And on top of the isolation I experienced in the environment, it kind of threw me in a tailspin. And it's a space that doesn't work for someone like me. It's not made for me. It's made for, you know, it's made for a young white girl / woman. Or, you know, even rarer, it's still not made for a young Black girl or young Black woman, but it's, you know, if you have the income, it's going to be a lot easier for you to navigate a space like this, because you at least check one thing off, okay? And you know, if you have the technical ability, the youth, the age, and everything, it will all work for you. It'll just be isolating because of what you are, but there's just a lot of things I'm dealing with, is what I'm saying. So anyway, let me go ahead and go, so that I can wake up in the morning and have hope and continue going and continue finding the spaces that will nurture me, and not lean on this space to do that, because it's absolutely not going to do that. So that I can maintain in that class, I won't have to deal. I can place the emotional support, get that elsewhere. So that's what I'm building right now. And I think making a video kind of helps in some way, because I'm talking to the moon. I'm not gonna lie, I really, really love that song. And little did I know that Janelle Monáe was a space girl when I listened to her in college. I should have known. My soul knew. I just wasn't conscious of it. Why I was drawn to her Metropolis album. Okay, alright, let me go. Alright, have a good night. Bye.